Along the rugged coastline of Australia lies the beautiful town of Byron Bay, famous for its stunning beaches and world-renowned surfing spots. This paradise attracts thrill-seekers and water sports enthusiasts from all over the world. However, it is also one of the places with the highest number of shark attacks. Our first story tells of the fearless young surfer Sarah Anderson and her fateful encounter with a predator lurking beneath the waves. For this young woman, surfing had always been a refuge where she could find solace and freedom, but she had no idea that her life would be forever shattered by a pair of very hungry jaws. On a bright summer morning, August 7, 1981, Sarah Anderson, an experienced and passionate surfer, headed out onto the turquoise waters of Belongal Beach. She had the day off work and decided to spend it not at home, but on the beach under the sun. Together with her friend Amanda, they arrived at Belongal Beach around noon. Leaving their boards and belongings on the sand, they decided to have a quick bite to eat. About 20 minutes later, they applied extra wax to their surfboards and easily carried them into the water. Sarah skillfully rode wave after wave, enjoying the serenity of the ocean on that scorching hot day. The water refreshed her as she paddled farther out, eager to catch a bigger wave. She had no suspicion that beneath the bright azure surface something was lying in wait, biding its time, ready to strike. A mighty predator, one of the ocean's top inhabitants. They surfed for almost an hour, riding all kinds of waves, big and small. Eventually their session came to an end, and Sarah remained sitting on her board next to Amanda, reflecting on how much fun she had had. But something felt wrong. She interrupted her conversation with Amanda and told her to listen. Despite the lack of wind and waves, she saw the silhouette of a dorsal fin slicing through the water. Her heart skipped a beat. Instinctively, Sarah switched into survival mode. Adrenaline surged through her veins as she fought the rising danger, paddling desperately and urging Amanda to do the same. She spotted the shark right beside them and felt chills run down her spine. It passed between them, chose Sarah's surfboard, rammed into it, and knocked her off into the water. She thrashed desperately. Amanda heard Sarah's screams, but they were muffled and abruptly cut off as she went under. The shark had clamped onto the board. Amanda watched it rocking violently while the shark thrashed across the surface. Moments later, it finally released the board and submerged again. Terrified that the shark would return to attack her, Amanda instinctively swam forward, looking back to see Sarah clinging to the board to stay afloat. She called out to her, but got no response. Sarah was vomiting seawater, eyes closed. Between retching and screaming, she could do nothing. When Amanda tried to circle around to possibly help, she saw Sarah being pulled under along with the board. Amanda screamed, realizing the shark had returned. In shock, she sat frozen on her own board, trembling with fear, watching the water turn a deep crimson. Finally, she saw something rise to the surface. It was Sarah, but lifeless and limp, floating up and down. Her legs were gone. The shark had torn her friend in half. Amanda no longer had the strength to call for help. That single incident was enough to destroy forever any desire she had to enter any body of water for the rest of her life. Story 2. John Donovan stood at the edge of a pristine beach, his bare feet sinking into warm sand. The sun hung high, casting golden reflections across the waves. A world traveler, he had come to this remote tropical spot drawn by promises of untouched beauty and legendary surf. John did not yet know that fate had prepared a soul-chilling encounter that would permanently alter his view of the ocean's depths. As he prepared his surfboard, childhood memories flooded back. Memories that tied him to the sea. That connection had always pulled him like a magnet. In his youth, he seized every chance to swim and surf. At that moment, he had already been on this beach for several days, relaxing and enjoying free time. He was passionate about surfing and also taught guitar at the local youth center. Full of enthusiasm, John paddled out into the lineup, the rhythm returning him to childhood. An experienced surfer, he savored the thrill before each new ride. Adrenaline coursed through his veins as he rode wave after wave. But a subtle change in the atmosphere sent shivers down his spine. The air became charged with inexplicable tension. He lay face down on his board, paddling forward, unaware of what was happening below. A monstrous great white shark was watching John and approaching with merciless precision. Its powerful body parted the water, driven by insatiable hunger. The shark made a sudden lunge, clamping onto John's leg with such force that it crushed bone. Excruciating pain tore through his body, shattering all rational thought. The world turned upside down. John fought desperately for his life, thrashing and kicking, consumed by primal survival instinct. The water around him clouded with blood. He was forcibly dragged away from his surfboard and pulled under. Opening his eyes, he saw the monster locked onto his leg. With all his strength, John clawed at the shark's eyes, hoping to blind the beast and buy himself a few precious seconds. The underwater struggle became an endless battle. His vision blurred, his body weakened with every moment, but he refused to give up. His indomitable spirit and unbreakable will to survive only enraged the shark further. In desperation, he stretched his arms as far forward as possible, grabbed the shark's gills and pulled with every ounce of strength he had left. The shark thrashed even harder, sending fresh waves of agony through John's body, but its jaws were no longer clamped as tightly. Seizing that fleeting chance in one final act of defiance, John broke free from the shark's grip, leaving a trail of shredded flesh behind him. He surged upward, desperately gasping for air and praying the shark would not recover too quickly. Choking from lack of oxygen, John broke the surface. His body was battered and broken, his leg mangled and torn apart by the relentless force of the attack. A trail of blood streamed behind him. Still, he fought to reach shore. Soon he reached shallow water where he could stand and drag himself onto solid ground. Seeing the shark's dorsal fin far out in the distance, lying on the sandy bottom, John, with pain throbbing in every nerve, realized he had narrowly escaped death. The ocean, which he had once trusted and felt safe in, had betrayed him. People ran to the shore after witnessing the attack. In the days and weeks that followed, John began the grueling journey of physical and emotional recovery. Every step was agony, yet necessary, because he was determined not to let the shark ruin the rest of his life. Eventually, he made a full recovery and regained full function of his leg. Story 3. Mia Ellis and Emily Maley, two best friends with an insatiable thirst for adventure, found themselves on a remote island in the very heart of the South Pacific. It was the 5th day of their vacation. They had traveled from Germany to see the sights and make new memories. Surrounded by crystal-clear waters and untouched beaches, the island seemed the perfect getaway. In the sweltering heat, they had no idea their adventure would take a sudden, terrifying turn. Grabbing their surfboards, Mia and Emily headed to a secluded bay, known as a place where any tourist could find peace. They had never surfed and had no intention of trying. Instead, they planned to lie on the boards and simply float in the water. Surfing had never appealed to them. The sun played on the water, creating a mesmerizing kaleidoscope of colors. They remarked how pleasant the ocean was, crystal clear and at the perfect temperature. Mia and Emily dove into the waves whenever they felt like it, chatting and swimming. It seemed nothing could go wrong, until one of them noticed a dark shape beneath the surface. Emily was the first to leap to her feet and warn Mia. Panic flooded their veins. Their desperate reaction only drew the predator closer. Its powerful presence grew more palpable with every second. Mia managed to scramble back onto her board. Adrenaline surged. They turned toward shore, hearts pounding. They kicked and paddled furiously, driven by terror. The shark was faster, far faster than they could ever hope to be. It made its move, lunging at Mia. Its jaws closed dangerously close to her leg. It missed her flesh but clamped onto the surfboard, tilting it at a perilous angle and pushing Mia to the brink of falling in. Acting on instinct, Mia raised her leg high and kicked the shark hard on the snout. The beast immediately released the board and vanished into the depths. Disoriented for a moment, the shark recoiled. Mia seized the opportunity, rolled onto her side and paddled with every ounce of strength she had. Her heart hammered with fear and hope. Emily followed her lead, her unwavering determination pushing her beyond her limits. Though stunned, the shark did not abandon the chase. It followed, yet could not catch them. The pair reached shallow water and safety. They sat on the shore gasping, muscles burning, stunned and speechless. They watched the shark disappear into the deep. Mia's leg was badly scratched from the shark's rough skin, but that was nothing compared to what could have been lost. That same day they went home and never told anyone what had happened. Story 4. Hawaii, one of the world's most beautiful and popular tourist destinations, thanks to its lush landscapes and extraordinarily attractive waters. Locals feel blessed to live there, and one of them was Emma Marsh, a young woman who came face to face with razor-sharp teeth and death. She worked as a dental technician in Hawaii, lived on the waterfront near the beach, and frequently went kayaking as a hobby. Emma had always been drawn to the sea. Growing up on the coast, she developed a deep love for the ocean and its wonders. Max, her loyal four-legged companion, shared her enthusiasm for outdoor adventures. Together they explored countless beaches and hidden coves, creating unforgettable memories. Max was a golden retriever, utterly devoted to his owner. On June 23, 1996, Emma and Max headed to the beach where Emma kept her kayak, which she always took when she wanted to paddle. The kayak was a two-seater, so she secured Max so he could ride along too. The weather was fine, the waves gentle, and they were able to paddle some distance offshore without trouble. Along the way, she gave Max treats to keep him calm and comfortable. Everything was fine until Emma felt something violently rocking the kayak up and down. There were no waves. Then she saw massive jaws beneath her, shredding at her legs, blood gushing. The monster's teeth scraped back and forth, trying to pull the kayak under. It finally released the boat. Emma's hands trembled as she fought to stay composed. Her legs burned from the wounds. Time seemed to slow. Without warning, the shark attacked again, this time biting into the side of the kayak where Max was sitting. It knocked him out of his harness and sent him into the water. Emma screamed, but he was already in the sea, paddling frantically toward her. She reached out and grabbed his paws. Somehow she managed to haul him back aboard. The shark circled back. Water was pouring into the small kayak. Time was running out. Emma paddled with all her might. Max howled in pain, trembling on the seat. Somehow she covered the 30 yards to shore without stopping. They reached the beach just in time. On the back patio, she examined his leg. It was badly cut, but there was no serious structural damage. A trip to the vet later confirmed he would be okay. Emma's own wounds were only superficial, though they came terrifyingly close to severing tendons and arteries. Miraculously, nothing vital was cut. After the incident, both spent several weeks recovering. Emma could barely take Max outside, let alone go near the water. He never overcame his fear of the ocean, and Emma no longer wanted to subject him to that trauma. Story 5. In the picturesque coastal town of Port Macquarie, two high school friends, Ethan Byers and Lily Monroe, decided to skip school and go swimming. It was a warm spring day. The sun blazed in a clear blue sky. Rebellious and charismatic Ethan, always craving excitement, suggested they ditch school and spend the whole day at a secluded bay on the coast. Lily agreed to join him, leaving the school walls behind. They rode their bikes, the pedals turning faster the closer they got to the bay. A hidden gem nestled between rocky headlands and bathed in turquoise ocean embrace. The bay was completely isolated. No one would find them there. Marine life consisted mostly of small fish and curious crabs. They dropped their backpacks and immediately went swimming. They had known each other for years. Such outings were routine. They waded into the perfect water, joking and circling the bay, paying attention to nothing else. Then everything changed. The wet hairs on the back of Ethan's neck stood on end. It was already too late. A huge bull shark was behind them, closing in at full speed straight toward Ethan. He tried to swim back to shore, but the shark reached him and clamped onto his right knee, locking the leg in place. Lily heard tendons snapping underwater and kept screaming, not knowing what to do. Ethan simply screamed and gurgled beneath the surface. Moments later, he resurfaced, flailing and making choking cries. He stayed up only briefly before being dragged under again. Sharks are known for not killing prey immediately. They bite, release, and wait for the victim to bleed out or drown. That is exactly what happened to Ethan while he was held below. The water turned red. Lily knew he was gone, yet she could not accept it. She stayed there for an indeterminate time, staring at the spot where she had last seen Ethan, cursing the day they decided to skip school. Ethan's body eventually floated to the surface, mutilated beyond recognition. At that moment, Lily finally lost consciousness from shock. Hyperventilation began, but she still forced herself to leave the scene and find help. There was no one in the bay or on nearby beaches, so she had to walk back to town. Knowing Ethan's body might be carried out to sea if she didn't hurry, she entered the first shop she found and, stammering, told the terrified shopkeeper what had happened. He called emergency services. 2 paramedics arrived and stayed with Lily in the shop to make sure she was okay while police went to the scene. By then, Ethan was already drifting toward the horizon, but they managed to recover him and notify his family. Lily never fully recovered from what happened. Even years later, she blamed herself constantly. It took years of therapy to begin to move past that day.